Let me tell you something that's going to make some people uncomfortable. The difference between being poor and being rich has almost nothing to do with the circumstances you were born into, and everything to do with the decisions you make every single day from the moment you wake up until the moment you go to sleep. I know what you're thinking. You're already preparing your arguments. You're already listing all the reasons why that's not fair, why that's oversimplified, why your situation is different. But before you close your mind to what I'm about to say, I need you to ask yourself one honest question. Is defending your current financial situation more important than changing it? Because that's the real choice in front of you right now. You can spend your energy justifying why you're struggling, or you can spend that same energy figuring out how to stop struggling. But you cannot do both. You have to choose. Let me be crystal clear about something before we go any further. When I talk about being poor versus being rich, I'm not talking about where you are right now. I'm talking about where you're headed, because being poor isn't just about how much money is in your bank account today. Being poor is a mindset. Being rich is a mindset, and the mindset you choose determines everything that comes after. Poor people wake up and immediately start thinking about their problems. Rich people wake up and immediately start thinking about their opportunities. Poor people see obstacles. Rich people see challenges they can overcome. Poor people ask, why is this happening to me? Rich people ask, what can I learn from this? Same circumstances, different questions, different outcomes. Here's what most people don't understand. Every single person who is wealthy today, unless they inherited it, was once exactly where you are, or worse. They had the same 24 hours you have. They had bills they couldn't pay. They had dreams that seemed impossible. They had people telling them it couldn't be done. The difference is they decided that their current situation was temporary. They decided that their financial reality was something they could change. They decided to stop being a victim of their circumstances and start being the creator of their future. And that decision, that fundamental shift in mindset, changed everything. Let me tell you what poor people do with their time. They watch TV for hours every night. They scroll social media looking at other people's lives. They complain about their jobs, but never develop skills that would qualify them for better ones. They spend money they don't have on things they don't need to impress people they don't even like. They say they don't have time to build a business or learn a new skill or invest in their education. But somehow, they have time to binge entire seasons of shows. They have time to scroll for hours. They have time for everything except the things that would actually change their financial situation. Rich people, or people on their way to becoming rich, they do something different with their time. They read, they learn, they build, they invest in themselves relentlessly. They sacrifice short-term pleasure for long-term gain. They do the work nobody else wants to do because they know it will give them the life nobody else has. When a poor person gets extra money, they spend it. When a rich person gets extra money, they invest it. When a poor person has a problem, they complain. When a rich person has a problem, they solve it or they pay someone else to solve it. When a poor person sees someone successful, they make excuses for why that person has advantages they don't have. When a rich person sees someone successful, they study what that person did and figure out how to apply those same principles to their own life. Different actions, different results. Now I want to address something head-on, because I know exactly what some of you are thinking. You're thinking about all the systemic barriers and unfair advantages and everything that makes it harder for some people than others. And you're right. Those things exist. They're real. But here's what you need to understand. Acknowledging that the game isn't fair and using that as an excuse to not play are two completely different things. Yes, some people start with advantages you don't have. Yes, the system is flawed. Yes, it's harder for some than others. So what? What are you going to do about it? Are you going to spend your life being angry about the unfairness? Or are you going to use that anger as fuel to prove everyone wrong? Because the world doesn't care about fair. The market doesn't care about fair. Your bills don't care about fair. Fair is not coming to save you. Nobody is coming to make it easier. Nobody is going to hand you the life you want because you deserve it. The only question that matters is, what are you going to do with the hand you've been dealt? You can play the victim, or you can play to win. But you cannot do both. Let me tell you about the poverty trap that keeps people stuck for generations. It's not just about money. It's about thinking. Poor people are taught to trade time for money. Go to school, get a job, work 40 years, retire. That's the script. Rich people are taught to build assets, create systems, make money work for them instead of working for money. They understand leverage. They understand that 1 hour of their time can create value that pays them for years. Poor people think in terms of income. How much do I make per hour? How much is my salary? Rich people think in terms of net worth. What am I building? What do I own? What assets am I creating? Poor people see a business opportunity and immediately think about all the ways it could fail. Rich people see a business opportunity and immediately think about how to make it work. Poor people focus on the risk. Rich people focus on the potential. And this is where it gets really important. Poor people believe that money is scarce, that if someone else has it, there's less for them, that the pie is fixed and they're fighting for scraps. This scarcity mindset makes them hoard whatever little they have and never take the risks necessary to grow. Rich people understand that money is abundant, that wealth is created, not just redistributed, that you can make the pie bigger, that someone else's success doesn't diminish their own potential. This abundance mindset makes them invest, take calculated risks, and build. Your mindset about money literally determines how much of it you'll ever have. Here's another hard truth. Poor people surround themselves with other poor people who reinforce poor thinking. They spend time with people who complain about work, who say the system is rigged, who mock anyone trying to do better as selling out or forgetting where they came from. Rich people surround themselves with people who are doing better than them, who challenge them, who raise their standards. They know that you become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, so they're very selective about who gets access to their time and energy. If everyone in your circle is broke, if everyone is complaining, if everyone is stuck, you will stay broke and complaining and stuck. Not because you're not capable of more, but because your environment is programming you for mediocrity. You want to know the fastest way to change your financial situation? Change your peer group. Find people who are where you want to be. Study them. Learn from them. Model what they do. Stop spending all your time with people who are going nowhere and wonder why you're not moving forward. Now let me talk about something that separates poor people from rich people more than almost anything else. Delayed gratification. Poor people want everything now. They can't wait. They need the new phone, the new shoes, the new car. Right now, even if they have to go into debt for it. Even if it means they'll be stuck in the same financial position next year. The immediate pleasure is more important than the long-term consequence. Rich people are masters of delayed gratification. They'll drive an old car for years while they invest in their business. They'll live below their means while they build their wealth. They'll sacrifice today for a better tomorrow. And because they're willing to be uncomfortable now, they get to be comfortable later. Poor people are comfortable now and struggle later. Rich people struggle now and are comfortable later. It's a choice. Every single day, it's a choice. Here's what this looks like practically. A poor person gets a $500 bonus. They immediately think about what they can buy. A new TV, maybe. Some clothes. Go out to eat a few times. That $500 is gone in a week, and they have nothing to show for it except temporary pleasure. A rich person gets that same $500. They think about how to multiply it. Maybe they put it into their business. Maybe they buy a course that teaches them a valuable skill. Maybe they invest it. That $500 becomes a seed that grows into something bigger. Same money. Different thinking. Different outcome. Let me tell you what rich people know that poor people don't. Money is a tool. It's not good or bad. It's not evil or virtuous. It's a tool. And like any tool, it amplifies who you already are. If you're generous when you're poor, you'll be generous when you're rich. If you're selfish when you're poor, you'll be selfish when you're rich. Money doesn't change your character. It reveals it. So this idea that rich people are bad and poor people are good is nonsense. There are good and bad people at every income level. The difference is rich people have options. They have freedom. They have the ability to help more people, to create more impact, to live life on their terms. Being poor doesn't make you noble. It makes you stuck. And there's nothing noble about being stuck when you have the power to change it. Now let me address the biggest lie poor people tell themselves. Money doesn't buy happiness. Let me be very clear. Money absolutely doesn't guarantee happiness. There are plenty of miserable rich people. But you know what money does buy? Options. Freedom. Security. The ability to take care of your family. The ability to help others. The ability to pursue your passions without worrying about how you'll pay rent. Show me someone who says money doesn't matter, and I'll show you someone who's never had their electricity shut off because they couldn't pay the bill. I'll show you someone who's never had to choose between buying groceries or buying medicine. I'll show you someone who's never felt the stress of not knowing how they're going to provide for their children. Money might not buy happiness, but poverty doesn't buy anything. Poverty is stress. Poverty is limitation. Poverty is having dreams you can't pursue because you're too busy just trying to survive. Don't let anyone make you feel guilty for wanting to be wealthy. Don't let anyone convince you that struggling financially is somehow more virtuous than building wealth. That's just what unsuccessful people tell themselves to feel better about their situation. Here's what I want you to understand. You can come from poverty. You can have every disadvantage in the world, and you can still build wealth. It's been done thousands of times by people who had it worse than you, people who started with nothing, people who faced discrimination, people who had to overcome obstacles you can't even imagine. They did it, which means it's possible. Which means the only question is whether you're willing to do what they did. Are you willing to work when others sleep? Are you willing to learn when others watch TV? Are you willing to invest when others spend? Are you willing to be uncomfortable now for comfort later? Are you willing to be misunderstood by people who don't have your vision? Are you willing to bet on yourself when nobody else believes in you? Because that's what it takes. Not luck. Not connections. Not a perfect start. It takes decision. It takes commitment. It takes relentless consistency in doing the things that build wealth even when you don't see immediate results. The poor person sees hard work and says, "That's not fair, I shouldn't have to work that hard." The rich person sees hard work and says, "That's the price, and I'm willing to pay it." The poor person sees someone successful and looks for reasons to discredit them. They got lucky. They had help. They started with money. The rich person sees someone successful and asks, "What did they do that I can learn from?" The poor person focuses on consumption. The rich person focuses on creation. The poor person thinks about Friday. The rich person thinks about financial freedom. The poor person asks, how much does it cost? The rich person asks, what's the return on investment? Different questions. Different focus. Different life. Let me tell you what's going to happen when you decide to break out of poverty and build wealth. People are going to try to pull you back down. People who claim to care about you are going to tell you you're changing. They're going to say you're not the same person anymore. They're going to make you feel guilty for wanting more. They're going to call you selfish for investing in yourself instead of lending them money. They're going to call you greedy for building a business instead of settling for a job. They're going to call you a sellout for pursuing success instead of staying comfortable in struggle. And you need to understand that this is not about you. This is about them feeling threatened by your growth. Because your success reminds them of their own lack of action. Your movement makes their stagnation more obvious. Your dreams make their settling more painful. Let them talk. Let them judge. Let them criticize. You keep building. You keep growing. You keep moving forward, because 5 years from now, when you're living the life you designed, when you're financially free, when you're making an impact, their opinions won't matter at all. Here's the final truth I want to leave you with. Being poor is expensive. Financially, emotionally, mentally, it costs you everything. It costs you opportunities. It costs you peace of mind. It costs you time with your family because you're working multiple jobs just to barely survive. It costs you your dreams because you're too exhausted and stressed to pursue them. Being rich, truly rich, not in the flashy cars and designer clothes way, but in the financial freedom way, that gives you time. That gives you options. That gives you the ability to be generous. That gives you the power to create the life you actually want instead of just accepting the life you're given. So the question is not whether you can afford to build wealth. The question is whether you can afford not to. Stop making excuses. Stop blaming circumstances. Stop waiting for someone to save you. Nobody is coming. The government isn't coming. Your family isn't coming. The lottery isn't coming. The only person who can change your financial situation is you. And the only time you can start is now. Not when you have more money, not when you have more time, not when the conditions are perfect. Now. Today. With what you have. Where you are. Start learning. Start building. Start investing in yourself. Start making different choices. Start thinking differently. Start surrounding yourself with people who challenge you to grow. Start acting like the wealthy person you're becoming instead of the poor person you're leaving behind. Because here's the truth that nobody wants to say out loud. You're not poor because of your circumstances. You're poor because of your choices. And the moment you take responsibility for those choices is the moment everything can change. You have the same hours as everyone else. You have access to the same information as everyone else. You have the same opportunity to learn and grow and build as everyone else. What you do with that is entirely up to you. Choose to be rich, not just in money, but in mindset, in habits, in the value you create, in the person you become. The life you want is on the other side of the excuses you keep making. Stop making them. Start building. Your financial future is not determined by where you are today. It's determined by the decisions you make starting right now. So what's it going to be? Are you going to keep thinking poor and staying poor, or are you going to start thinking rich and building rich? The choice is yours. It's always been yours. Make it count.